It's your boy David, aka SouloMind, and welcome to The Spotlight. This is where we highlight some of the best African American entertainers in the business, learn about their stories, and even take away lessons from their journeys. This is The Spotlight. According to TylerPerry.com, Tyler Perry has released 17 films, 20 stage plays, over 7 television shows, and is the author of a New York Times best-selling book. I mean, this man, Tyler, this man right here, this man is an actor, a writer, director, producer, a businessman, and so much more. He has created characters and catchphrases that are now a part of the thread of the DNA of the black culture. Say I'm lying. And what's important about that is that Tyler Perry is a self-made talent. I mean, we have literally watched this man for 20 years create his empire. Every time he made a move, we were literally right there watching him. We were witnessing him do all of this stuff. He has inserted himself into spaces that didn't want to include him at all. And when people locked the door on him, Tyler Perry literally just built his own door and walked right on through. Things were not always easy for Tyler Perry growing up, as he suffered a lot of trauma throughout his childhood. He suffered a lot of physical and mental abuse from his family, but especially from his father. His father was extremely abusive and brutal to Tyler. He would beat him, call him names, and tear down his spirit. Tyler often witnessed his father beating his mother as well. But I find it very interesting that even with all of this trauma, even with all this abuse, a young Tyler still had room to dream. I think that's very interesting that even with all that, there was still some optimism that nobody could take away from him. As Tyler got older, he began to write. Journaling became an escape for him. He would write down all of his feelings and everything that he was going through. He would write it down. That became his savior at that time. In 1992, at the age of 22, Tyler Perry will open up his very first play titled I Know I've Been Changed, but it was a big failure. It bombed at the box office. Nobody was there to see it. Now, he's a struggling playwright at this time, but he believes in his gift, but nobody else believes in it. His mom one time even told him, Tyler, just hang it up, give it up. You are never going to make it. His mom told him that. During this time, Tyler Perry, he's going through a lot of things, and he even becomes homeless, having to live in his car.
I ended up out on the street with no money and nothing to my name. I had written my first play. It was called I Know I've Been Changed. I put the show up, working, used car, bill collector, H&R Block tax return that wasn't quite right, but I got my money out of it. I thought 1,200 people would show up that weekend, but only 30 showed up.
But he believed in his dream, and he kept moving. For the next 5 years, Tyler Perry would continue to tour I Know I've Been Changed. Every single play was considered a failure. But one day in 1998, Tyler Perry finally got his big break, as one of his shows did extremely well. After that, he had a residency at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, and I Know I've Been Changed was sold out. Alright, we're going to take a pause right here in the middle of the video because it is time to see if you guys have been paying attention to what I've been saying, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to give you a chance to answer it, right? True or false? Tyler Perry is a New York Times bestseller. I'll give you that answer towards the end of this video. Can y'all just even imagine all those years of hard work? But not even just hard work, all of those years of disappointment and failure finally paid off. I can't even imagine myself, how do you work in those circumstances? How do you continue to push yourself in the midst of failure? But Tyler did. After the success of I Know I've Been Changed, of course Tyler Perry continued to make more plays, and it became bigger and bigger and bigger. He had plays like Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Medea's Class Reunion, Meet the Browns, and so many more. Y'all know the plays. With the huge success of his plays, Tyler decided to jump into different avenues of media. In 2005, he self-financed his very first film, Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Charles, I have been nothing but a good woman and wife to you. I don't deserve this. You will reap what you sow. Keep your money.
By 2011, Tyler Perry's films had grossed over $500 million. Next, Tyler Perry moved into television. His first television show was on the TBS network, and it was called House of Pain. Soon after House of Pain followed Meet the Browns television show. Later, he would partner with Oprah Winfrey on her own network, and he would develop television shows for that network as well, including the very popular The Haves and the Have-Nots. Recently, he just signed a very lucrative deal with Viacom CBS, and now he's producing and developing more content and shows for BET and BET+. Tyler Perry now owns one of the biggest studio lots ever, period. Tyler Perry Studios, which has filmed a lot of different TV shows and movies, including The Walking Dead and Black Panther. Tyler Perry never gave up. This is a story of extreme faith and extreme believing in yourself. Your reality is not your future. Tyler Perry's upbringing and where he is at now doesn't even necessarily make sense. His circumstances, his environment, how he grew up, didn't lead to his success now. But he didn't stay there. And he didn't allow his environment to dictate who he's going to be as a person. He didn't allow his environment to dictate his career, his dreams, his goals. And it was extremely hard. Sometimes we just have to believe that even though things can be very hard, and sometimes we don't even see a way out, that our current reality is not our future. We have to look past our circumstances, and I know that can be easier said than done. Especially when we are going through things, times are hard. Life can be hard, it can be very difficult. And it's hard to see into the future. It can be hard to be optimistic too. But you aren't always going to be where you're at right now. Look at Tyler Perry. I can't even fathom the amount of faith he had in himself to bring himself out of those horrible situations and to place himself into where he's at right now, a mogul. You have to keep going, keep striving, keep grinding, because it's going to happen for you. I mean, I'm saying that to myself too. It's going to happen for you. Thank y'all so much for watching. Until next time.